Good. Baby fell asleep at perfect timing.
Good job, baby.
Yeah, way to go, baby.
That's awesome.
Making sure I got my monitor on because I know he's gonna wake up soon because I put him down.
Yeah.
Just turn the volume down though.
Well, we could go about it one or two ways. Like, we can answer questions really quick, or we can go through questions that have already been asked and we've answered. How do you guys, what do you think, Danica?
I think just opening up for questions.
Okay. And then
because we've tried to put most of the answers in writing.
Kind of, there's been some questions, but if they're not asked, then I can run through what's not asked. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so we'll get started. So we are, so what kind of questions do people have about the training on May 11th, 10 o'clock to 5 on that day, and then May 12th, 13th, 14th is from 9 to 6.
So I'm trying to pull up the document real quick. The part that confused me was based on the area that you serve, aim to serve Indigenous folk with Indigenous affiliation, but then a bullet directly under that says that you have to keep documentation on tribal affiliation. Let me see. Yeah, so clients served while in training are preferred to be, but then it also says must be enrolled tribal members. So I'm just a little confused, and it looks like the wording has actually changed since I originally asked this question.
I was going to ask you, can you see the changes?
No, right now there's a bunch of strike through on the text. So I mean, yes, I can see changes, but it's not it's not a final draft. It looks like everything struck. So I'm curious, is that gonna be during training we can only help Indigenous families for the first 5 births, or is that what we're signing up for is strictly Indigenous folk, or are we allowed to help anyone and everyone?
Yeah, based on our conversations, while this is an Indigenous Birth Justice grant that is funding this, we don't want to limit doulas to who they see. And we've talked about the language a little bit, and that's what we're trying to change is the language. And so the plan is to give back 5 within that 2-year frame for Indigenous. So you might see, someone that's not Indigenous first, and then you see an Indigenous, and then 3 months later you don't, and so you might read your Shafia Monroe certification earlier, and then, but just within that 2 years, if you can at least see 5 Indigenous people, that'd be great.
Okay, so that makes sense. If the original wording was confusing because
it sounded more rigid than what it is. Part of that is that we haven't done this before, so we're like trying to figure out how do we create criteria that helps get people who are interested in the Indigenous part of it, but then also not being too rigid.
Right, without like constraining them so far that they can't be successful.
Exactly. So, and I also think we don't actually care about them being enrolled.
Okay.
What we care about is just like what's their self-identified tribal affiliation. That helps give us an idea of who's accessing services and what communities are being supported. We do not care about enrollment or tribal membership.
Okay, that makes sense, because if
Yeah.
that were the case, then I technically wouldn't qualify as my own client because I'm just a descendant. Like,
And Penny and
okay.
I are both also descendants. And so, yeah, so we're in the same boat where we're like, okay, it's hard because I think if people are enrolled members, they automatically are like, oh yeah, if you just check to make sure they're enrolled, then that's how you know that you're serving. But for us, we're like, well, there's a gray area for descendants and like
Yeah.
children of
And, you know,
descendants. And
and then it
yeah,
becomes unfair to the clientele, because then you're like, well, they are technically tribal. They're just not, like, I'm sorry, their parents liked a different ethnicity or race,
yeah,
you know? Like,
yeah, yeah. No, so I think for us, we're mostly like self-identified
okay,
Native people that you're serving.
cool. That,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then our first 5 births, that's part of Shafia's training. So she's going to be talking to us about all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. To be certified, you're supposed to attend 5 births. We are happy to help people through certification. That's our goal, is to get more certified doulas. But we
Yeah.
also know that some people might start this work and realize they don't want to do birth work. But that's why we're kind of setting out some of the expectations about what it looks like to become certified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that brings up a great question. What
Yeah.
are you guys gonna do, or can you do, to help us gain clientele?
Yeah.
Because I know, just like starting, I haven't been back on the res in years. And so I don't have like a ton of contacts out there anymore. I don't really
Mhm.
know how to get back in touch with the clientele that I should be in touch with.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, one, sharing information. So having your contact information, having a doula list that we can send to people to let them know like what are the areas that they serve, who to get a hold of. We're also looking at how can we, like a couple of the ways we're looking at supports is like obviously with advertising, being able to share the names of the people that have trained and who are working on certification and sharing those, but also supports as far as like trying to, I don't know if you looked at the book list.
I did not. I started
Yeah.
like, kind of self-training, and I've already got my own stack here.
Yeah. So Shafia Monroe has a list of books, and there's some that are like optional and others that are required, but she wants you to read 5 books and then do
Right.
either a written or verbal book report. So one of the things we've talked about is like, well, that's books can get pretty expensive. So other ways that like,
Yeah.
can we create like a doula library where people can take turns checking out the books? And then just whatever other social emotional support kind of looks like as you guys are kind of going through that process. I completed my doula training in 2005, 2006. And I have been to several births, mostly of friends and family. But even if it's like, I'm envisioning, if I can, supporting people and like debriefing after births, how they felt about things, what they feel like they could have done better, what are ways, how communication goes. And so some
Yeah.
of that support also. So it's kind of, I mean, we still don't know exactly what it looks like, but those are some of our goals, is like to help people through certification process. Shafia Monroe's pretty cool because I did talk to her about the fact that a lot of Native folks have school trauma, and not like for some people having to read a book and do a book report is going to be like, nope, I cannot do this. And so she's like, oh, well, they can give me a verbal report. They don't have to write something. They can give me a verbal. They can listen to it as an audiobook. They can, so I think we're trying to be flexible in how we reach people and how we support them in getting through the process.
Okay. Cool. Those are the only 2 questions that I really had coming into this. I just wanted to make sure that there was clarification, like defined.
Yes. Yeah.
The contract was just a little more clear.
Yeah. And we're still, I mean, one thing we talked about was like, oh yeah, this is an Indigenous birth justice project, but we also don't want to be excluding like Black and Brown families and low income families. And
just
so
want to kind of hit all the BIPOC community.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Cool.
Leslie, do you have any questions?
I did, but I can't think right now. I was trying to switch from my phone before it dies to here. And so,
Oh, you got muted.
whoops,
Oh, there it
sorry.
goes.
Who's the trainer?
Shafia Monroe.
Okay, she's not on here.
No, this was just for
Okay.
us to answer your questions. So, I mean, she lays out kind of the general schedule on her website.
Mhm.
And I know that the first 3 days are kind of the labor support, prenatal, different things. And then the last day, there is some focus on like having a doula business. Which I think can kind of give insight around like record keeping or structure and some of those
Yeah.
other things. Her process is relatively laid out in that she wants you to go to 5 Birds and read 5 books and do book reports, and that you have to audit some certain types of classes. I guess that's another way I'm hoping to figure out support, is to work with people in the community around how to help folks audit classes. But I feel like that'll be fine. It'll be easy.
Yeah, on that note, I've already actually observed a class.
Awesome.
And I know a couple people who do classes that are willing to let you observe if people need,
Awesome.
if people need that.
Wonderful. Yeah. That would be wonderful. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'll send you some names.
okay, perfect. Yeah, I've had a lot of like, I've had some of the midwives in the home birth community, and then a couple of doulas reach out, and then so I don't know. I feel like if we put our brains together, we'll be able to find some good opportunities for folks.
So are you full on the classes? Or like not the classes.
The
Are you
doula
full?
training.
Yeah.
They do want us to close registration. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Do
all
you
I
have
was wondering.
Yeah.
But it might be good if you know, we have like a waiting list in case someone drops at the last minute. Do you have
Mhm.
someone, Leslie?
Yeah. So my sister, she was like, geez, I wish you would have told me. Because she was actually my doula before she even knew she was a doula. And she has attended more births than I have. And she was like, she's not working right now. And she's like wanting to like she's been a volunteer with us for so long. And I was like, oh my God, that would be so awesome if she could be my backup doula. Because my other sister used to be my backup doula, and I've needed that. Like Tashina was going to be my backup doula at one point, but with her half nursing, you know, it's really hard. And like this one time I was at a birth and it was 36 hours and I got like 3 hours of sleep over that time, because as soon as I got home to like take a rest, and then the dad was like, I think she's going to have the baby. And I rushed back and it was a whole nother day, you know? And so I was just thinking like, I really wanted her to get in on a training soon, just to help me out. Because I know she was willing, but it's okay. She's probably gonna catch one at one point.
Well, and I think there's going to be some other opportunities here in Spokane, because we'll be looking at this over the next 3 years because of our birth equity grant, but also the learning project in Shades of Motherhood here in Spokane is trying to increase the number of Black doulas and stuff. And so I know that Stephanie has talked about, the leader of that has talked about using Shafia Monroe also for their training. And that would be probably more like general BIPOC, and we could work on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
But have her on standby just in case someone cancels, Leslie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If she's up for that, we can definitely put her on the wait list. And then if somebody like, you know, in the days before says, oh, actually I can't make it, then we'll add her.
Yeah. Okay.
If she's okay with being that spontaneous.
Yeah. I mean, she's totally cool right now, but I think it would also be really helpful for her because she's also pregnant, and she's trying to she just found out, and so she's being really careful because her last pregnancy was really difficult. Like she didn't know if she could bring to term, and so I'm trying to just keep her involved with more like positive things, you know, and things to like just dragging her along with me.
Good. It's for the best.
I know.
Where is the training going to be held?
It's going to be we've rented a house for our Indigenous Birth Justice Center, and it's in like the Audubon neighborhood.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be there in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
When are you guys gonna send the address? Because I know it's getting close.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna send it now. You guys are on our final participant list.
Okay.
Sierra, if you can send me a message if you're in after our questions being answered, send me your phone number and your email address. And then the trainer is going to be contacting every participant with information. And then we'll also be sending out like some updates as we get closer to the date.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
will send that over to you then.
Okay, awesome. Good.
So the I had a question about the
Mhm.
the sleeping arrangement. Jess kind of
Yeah.
briefed me on it, that you guys have several beds there at the place, so we don't have to be somewhere else. And then she also said that you guys
Yes.
might have an Airbnb. So I
Yes.
do know that Shanita is bringing her family because she has a
Okay.
breastfed baby,
Yep.
and wants the support of the dad, and the dad
Of
wants to
course.
take some time off work, and she has another little
Good.
guy she hasn't been away from
Yeah.
that long, before. And so I told her,
Okay.
no, I totally get it. And so she was just curious about that. So is there any information you could relay to me that would be helpful?
Yeah, so we have 2 bedrooms that can be used as sleeping quarters. There is another bedroom, but it doesn't have an egress window. So that has us nervous about putting people in it, right? If there was like a fire or something going on.
Just sign
And
a
so,
waiver.
yeah, sign a waiver.
It'll be fine.
But we do have, so in the downstairs bedroom, we have a full-size bed with a twin bed over it as a bunk. And then in the upstairs bedroom, we're going to have a queen bed. And we're probably going to have some air mattress. We have a couch in the downstairs living room that pulls out as a sleeper. So we'll try and figure it out, and we'll kind of think through as we get closer, knowing that. So she's going to bring a partner and then two littles.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we can help figure that out.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm just coming alone. I'm gonna try to get. I know, try to get away. All week I've had 10 kids at my house, and so I'm a little like touched out and overstimulated. And yesterday I kind of lost it, and so today I was kind of having those mom moments, guilt for yelling around yesterday.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, but I'm excited because I haven't been able to like do an act. Like I canceled, I think, on the last 2 trainings I was gonna go to. So I'm not saying that I'm gonna do that to this one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Sumitra is going to Disney World.
Well, yeah. And then we'll also be providing breakfast and lunch and dinner for those days. People that are in town don't have to stay for dinner, but it's going to be an option.
Awesome. Is there anything we should bring? Like,
no, I mean, just things to take care of yourself. Definitely. I mean, we're going to have a lot of food, but a water bottle and just comfy clothes. I'm guessing that it's going to be kind of like sitting and watching and talking, and then also interactive. And so just being able to move around. And I know that at some point there is like a plant walk scheduled as part of the training to just go and look at like what plants are in the neighborhood, a little bit of herbal medicine teachings. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
So I just want to run through some of these just in case they might come up. So as far as the no registration fee, obviously we've talked about that. It's just the give backs. We will be asking for information on the data of the births only, so that we can report that back out. So any births that you do attend, especially the 5 that we're asking for, maintain your own records, and we can help get that set up. We're going to be learning also And then we can help with the advertisement, like what Danica talked about. And then just help get Medicaid reimbursable, if that's what you want to do. You know, it's if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine too. And then like Danica said about the food, those are all available. So we'll just need to know any dietary restrictions so that we can have those. So Leslie, if you can find out from your ladies, that'd be great. And even like the family. So what does the little one like, you know, so that we can have those so that there's nothing, you know, going on with you guys as far as having to stop and buy that kind of stuff. So just let us know those likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
And then, so yes, you can bring your breastfeeding baby. Danica will be there to assist, and then we're looking at also hiring another person to help, like with toddlers if they need to come or anything like that. But lodging is available, like we said.
Did I just hear childcare?
What was that?
Yeah, that's what we just need to know. What the ages are.
Yeah.
What are you breastfeeding?
I have a very fussy baby right now. Sorry. I am breastfeeding.
You're good. Yeah. You can bring baby. I'm going to be at the training to support the training, like for the trainer and also participants, but I'm not going to be taking the training. And so I think we're going to try and hire one other maybe teenager or young adult to help with childcare, and we can kind of tag team on that. Because we don't want childcare to be a limitation for folks.
Right. Yeah. And if we need to hire more, we just need to know who's going to be there. So far we know Shawnita's little one. And then the breastfeeding baby really doesn't count, but so whatever you, Sierra, are you just bringing your baby or? We'll find that out. Okay, Danica. Does she only have?
Yeah. You only have one, right? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear like any of that. He's
fussy baby. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
So
doing his thing.
Childcare needs, like breastfed babies, it might be like, oh, some time with mom, but then fussy or needs a break, needs to step out, then we can have childcare help with that also. And,
okay.
And they'll just be on site with us.
Yeah, because like if I can bring him, even better. Because I mean,
bring him.
Yes. Fussy if I can breastfeed him. Like
he's little. He's little. You bring him.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right? Are you in town, Sierra?
Yes. Yeah, I actually only live 20 minutes away from where the training is happening. I didn't realize. I've heard Audubon a couple times. I didn't realize it's just down by Downriver. So pretty close.
Good.
Yeah.
And then so, and as far as like once it's complete, looking at it, will there be support? We're not 100% sure we're going to have like funding available until October to support any doulas, but we are looking at that, maybe possibly doing some contract work with some doulas in our second year of birth justice. We just need to sit down and do our budget and really kind of look at that as a group. So we're not committing to anything, but there is, that is one of our hopes. And then
and when you say contract work, are you what is that going to look like if that does become tangible?
So instead of billing Medicaid, if we contract with you and you end up seeing out of the, after you've already gave your 5 give backs to the Indigenous, if like, let's say it's your 6th Indigenous family that you're going to support, then we could contract you to come in and we would take care of the cost of that 6 that 6th one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We've also talked a little bit with Stephanie at Shades of Motherhood, because one of the things that she's looking at doing is helping to get the doulas trained, but then also fundraising to where families can receive essentially a grant to hire a doula. And so they're not paying for the doula out of pocket, right? Especially while we wait on Medicaid reimbursement, but that's coming through other funding sources. And so it might be things like that too, where we're helping figure out how to get families to pay,
Gotcha.
but not out of their own pocket.
Right.
So we're still kind of exploring options, but that's one of the things that Stephanie's been looking at doing.
Okay. And so just to be
Yeah.
clear, the 5 births that we're doing as our give back, those are going to be free of charge, right?
Yes.
They don't have to be, do they?
They cannot bill Medicaid. You can bill the family if you want,
Yeah.
but yeah, they cannot bill
Yeah.
Medicaid.
So
Yeah.
it's just us going out and finding them on our own. So if we do find like actual clients willing to pay, then we can do it that
Yes.
way, or just
Yes.
take, like
Yeah.
volunteers for free.
Yes. Yeah. And I think
Well, like,
many
if we-
doulas, when they start, it's like you don't necessarily have experience. So people are like, well, then why would I pick you over other people? And so sometimes it's like, well, I'm going to give you a discount, or this one's going to be free, right? To help kind of
I know you
build-
saw my Facebook post.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's just the reality of doula work, right? And that's
Yeah.
you know, and you might find somebody that's like, oh yeah, I'm happy to pay, of course I want this, but there might be other times where you're like, oh, this is going to be kind of for free in order to get the experience and get my name out there and
Yeah.
kind of build.
And so like Danica said, there's going to be other options, but we just can't support, you know, like if you build Medicaid, that one can't be, you know, we can't basically double dip is what
Yeah.
the proposal says, which
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. Like we're here to support
Yeah.
the doulas, and that's the most important thing. And so between Danica and Hutzmahit and STN, we will figure it out. If
Yeah.
there's any needs, you just need to communicate those with us, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Put our brains together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then pretty much that's the only other things that have been asked. And so if there's anything else, I mean, those were the ones that had come through me. Danica, if you had any that came through you that
No.
mentioned so that
No.
it's on this recording.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Sorry, I'm yawning around.
oh, it's okay.
Like,
It's okay.
end of day.
So if I want to come for breakfast before, or was it, what did you say you guys were providing for during the training?
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay, so if I want to come for breakfast before training, how early do
Yeah.
I need to be there? Or is it going to be served like at the beginning of
No, I'll be sending that like in an itinerary, and it'll be before Shafia's time starts
Cool. Okay.
with the
I just
training.
want to make sure I
Mhm.
had an idea.
Yeah.
I won't miss out
Yeah.
on free food.
Yeah, so I think most of the days are starting at 9. So we'll probably say like, oh, you can arrive as early as 8 o'clock if you want to come and hang out and have food. And
Cool.
And
Yeah.
even like during breaks, Sarah, if you're running late because of baby and you get there at 9, I mean, you know, there's probably gonna be a break at 10, so you could grab a yogurt or whatever.
yeah,
You know, so
yeah. And we'll have snacks to kind of keep people fueled during the
Yeah.
training also.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm
Well,
done.
good. Okay, cool. Shoot me a message with just your email address and your phone number. And then if there's anything else that comes up, be in touch. But we will, now that we have our final head count, Shafia will end up being in contact with you, sending some emails. And then we will also work on that like final itinerary, directions to the house, like all of those pieces, and really nail down details.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, good to see y'all. Thanks for hopping on.
thanks everyone.
See you guys.
Bye,
Have a good
Leslie.
night.